you like to see on a thoroughfare like this. This is Connecticut Avenue. It would normally be filled with cars headed home from work, picking up kids from after school activities. Tonight, things have come to a standstill because of a very tense situation involving in the 2900 block of Van Ness Street at an apartment building where we have learned that police are working to try to figure out where the danger is. What we know is 3 people have been shot, 2 adult men, 1 young girl, a juvenile is all we've been told. We don't know how this started, why this started, but this has been an ongoing tense situation since before 3:30 this afternoon, and we've approached 5 o'clock already.
So this going on roughly an hour and a half now, and you're talking about the area that police are trying to navigate at this point. You have the Edmund Burke School, you have the University of the District of Columbia, UDC, you have a number of embassies as well in this region. So they're really trying to figure this all out and understand, again, where the threat is and how many people may have been injured, aside from those that we've already told you about.
And of course, you mentioned the schools that are over there, UDC,
A lot of
Edmund
people.
Burke, Howard Law. There are a number of other schools over there, but these are places where people live.
Yeah.
In the Van Ness and Cleveland Park communities, all of them right now on lockdown because of this ongoing threat that police are working to determine and working to get people out of that apartment building. If you've been following us, you've seen them as they've moved like human shields to get the people inside those apartment buildings out and to get them to safety.
And we know that DC Mayor Muriel Bowser is heading to the scene right now, and presumably DC Police Chief Robert Conti. And hopefully at that point, we will be able to get a lot more information about what's unfolding and the threat that still lingers at this hour.
We've heard from a number of witnesses this afternoon into now who have talked about what they heard. There was a Howard Law student who talked about hearing the gunshots and how traffic came to a standstill and how people were running everywhere. You heard from Colby, who talked to a witness who also heard the gunfire or said he heard the gunfire and thought that it was coming from certain areas and talked about people ducking behind cars. This has been a traumatic Friday afternoon for
really
many, many people in DC.
Painted just an awful picture. Even before we got to see some of the images play out a little earlier, just people describing what they saw. You just understood how bad this was going to be.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the parents who are waiting to get to their kids, some at Burke, which is directly in the ecosystem here that we're talking about. But there are also kids at other schools around the area, and maybe not even as close to there, that are also in lockdown who have parents waiting to get to them as well. So this incident here has antennas that are stretching across the city at this hour, impacting a lot of people as police try to get to the bottom, to the middle, and to the beginning of what this is, why it's happening, and to essentially get people to safety.
Yeah, let's get to our John Henry, who is live on scene right now. He's been there for a couple of hours now. And John, what update can you give us? What are witnesses telling you? What's the scene like there at this hour?
Right now, there's a lot of confusion on the scene here at the corner of Van Ness and Connecticut. There are dozens of people here. As Leslie was just saying, once again, this would be rush hour here in DC, a busy thoroughfare. A lot of people want to know what's going on, but some of the people in this crowd are also people, as you guys have been saying, with loved ones who were at the Edmund Burke School earlier today, which is obviously very close to the center of this scene. Right now, we're showing you the AVA apartment complex right there. And probably about 10 minutes ago, we saw more than 10 officers run into the building. We couldn't tell from our vantage point right here if guns were drawn. But 5 minutes before that, we actually saw a man come out in handcuffs. We don't know what relationship he had to this scene, if any. But you can see right now, there are actually people running out. We can see a person running out in between with those police officers. And we've been seeing that every 5, 10, 20 minutes or so. Additional people coming out of the apartment complex, being escorted out for what we presume is their own safety. This is, once again, a very active scene. Another thing that just happened here, we had 3 ambulances that came down Van Ness from the west side of the city to this scene. We don't know if that's for anyone inside or not, or if it's just precaution, but things here are very fluid. Once again, you can see that man running down the sidewalk right now, presumably to a safer place than the apartment complex. Once again, a lot of people were concerned and shocked about what happened here in the Van Ness area, including some grandparents I talked to not too long ago who had a grandchild inside the Edmund Burke School. Their daughter was trying to get her son. Here's what they had to say. Daughter here?
She was going to pick up her 8th grader and heard all this shooting. She thought it was a jackhammer, but it stopped and then it started again. And when she called us, she was so hysterical, I couldn't understand what she was saying.
Hyundai Santa Fe versus Subaru Outback. Hyundai Santa Fe wins every time. Get 2.25% APR for 60 months on the Santa Fe. Plus, get complimentary maintenance. Visit buyhyundai.com.
Once again, I heard you, Leslie, saying that this has tentacles all over the city. It's impacting a number of things. What's interesting about this is this isn't the only scene. While this is obviously the epicenter of it all, we know that there's areas that are blocked 2-3 blocks down here all the way to Porter. So there are a lot of people who are being impacted by this in multiple different ways. But once again, we keep seeing more officers come here to the scene with the Metropolitan Police Department and the Secret Service, which shows you that this is obviously still very active. Guys?
Yeah, and you can tell we've seen these sorts of scenes play out to a certain degree before, and you have these people, them police conducting this active sweep, getting those residents out of the AVA or AVA apartment building. It appears the danger is in that building, and right now they're just trying to get all those people to safety so they can figure out where or who the suspect is. But it seems at this point, based on what we're seeing play out, they may have it contained to just that area, that perimeter.
It is quite something, I just have to say, to see these sort of shielded safety movements in intervals, right? Every 15 minutes or every 4 minutes, depending on what's happening. Normally you see this happen and it's fairly quickly and they move things on. This has been going on for a while. And so we're continuing to follow this as you are as well. And again, if you're just joining us, this is all happening in the Connecticut Avenue, Van Ness area, where we are told by DC police that 3 people have been shot, 2 men and 1 juvenile girl. We're going to continue to follow this. I think we're going to take a commercial break.
We're going to take a quick break, try and get more information for you. We'll see you in just a minute.